Hello everybody, this is Anti-natalist, and I am just not fit for this world. And I know some of you fall into this category. HSP, highly sensitive person. I just heard a firework there. I don't know if you heard that on the video, but that's gonna suck. I hate fireworks, and like, my dogs don't like it. The deer don't like it. Nobody, I mean, fuck. It's not, I just hate loud fireworks. It's just people who just don't care about anybody else. But anyway, so, like, I was out today, and, there's this man, really overweight man, and, he was, like, in a really awkward position, and like bending over and cramping up, and he told me that he was getting muscle cramps in his side really bad, and I can relate very well to that. I used to get weird leg cramps, like, and they went away, but I've had like stomach cramps or side cramps in the car. And I literally had to contort myself to, get over that pain. And it's such everybody has those pains. They're called Charlie horses, but it's a cramp that I think when you get older, they get worse. Like, you just have to, like, ow. Like, you just are immobilized for, a little bit. But anyway, this man was so uncomfortable. And, like, I was like, just, standing beside him, like, worried about, his condition. And I asked him if he needed some water, and I told him, like, it's very hot out today. Let's see, it's 85 degrees. And he said he was drinking a lot, so it wasn't like water, because I know that if you're dehydrated, you can get cramps. But oh my God, like, this man looked so uncomfortable, and I got it. He told me he didn't need water, but I went and got him some water. But, like, I was in a place of, I was just uncomfortable for him. And, this happens to me, like, with several things. Like, if I see things and people are in anguish, like, it just makes me in anguish too. And, like, it's almost like I feel it, like, if I saw a bird, or half dead bird, or half dead squirrel on the road, like, flapping, I just want to, it just kills me, because, like, I think about euthanizing those animals, at whatever expense, whatever it takes. What do you do? Like, I don't have the access to a knife or anything, but one time I was helping a friend who was a feral cat rescue, and we went to a barn, and there were some barn cats, and they were all genetically defective. They have some interesting thing wrong with their nose, some kind of, they split nose or something, and they have an extra foot or toe, extra toe, I think 6 toes. And a lot of these were defective. I rescued one of the kittens with some kind of little deformity, and I fed him, gave him, bottle, like, overnight, and then I took him to the shelter. I don't know what fate they had, but I heard that some of them were very sick and were euthanized. And then my friend, she had this tiny little kitten, and it was so suffering. And like, she lived an hour away from me, and I live 20 minutes from a high class emergency clinic for animals. And there was nobody in her area that could euthanize this kitten. So let me describe the kitten. I guess he was maybe 8 days old. I'm not as familiar with kittens as I am dogs, puppies. but very, very young. And the kitten was kind of, mentally, cognitively out of it, not able to eat, just down on his side, breathing like that. And you could see the chest cavity just, up and down and up and down, and like just struggling to catch the next breath. And I was just so affected, and I mean, it just internally just disgusted me that the animal was suffering. And like, I told my friend, I said, Linda, I said, should we euthanize the cat? And she goes, Diane, I'll just wait till tomorrow morning and take him into the vet. And that cat had a lot of suffering through the night. If anybody knows, if anybody has a bad cold and they don't have access to some medicine or humidifier, whatever it takes to ease your pains. I mean, this poor little thing, 8 days old, it was, suffering beyond imagine and dying. And, I mean, I had these thoughts, just thoughts of like the quickest euthanasia, which, you could do to an animal. And it wasn't my responsibility. It wasn't my cat. It wasn't my rescue. But I mean, if it were me and I was, she could have driven to an ER, but I mean, it would have costed probably $300-400. I don't know. Like, then you have to balance, making the money or getting the donations to make up for your monetary and financial loss. And then, like, what methods do you take to euthanize? I mean, do you just go in your kitchen and, grab something and, I mean, that kind of thing really hurts animal rescues. Thinking, I mean, they can't do it like me. Like, I've never, I might have euthanized a fly who was struggling. He was flapping, and it was the weirdest. Like, I did a video on it. That was my other channel, I did a video on him, and he was just dying his last moments. I, finished him off. But, when it comes to cats and dogs and stuff, like, people like me, we just can't do it, but we should and we could. And, yeah, I mean, even doing it would, like, crush us. And, like, just seeing the man today, like, he was in pain. I mean, everybody's in pain. Everybody gets cramps. Everybody gets headaches or stomach aches or the feet aches or the knee aches or, but, seeing him, and he was doubled over. I mean, it could have even been more than that. But, so today, living life as an HSP and an empath, just, really disrupts my life, and it disturbs me. And, some people who are psychologically callous would call this too sensitive. You're too sensitive. Now, I consider it sociopathic if you don't feel the things that other sentient beings feel. Okay? So I may be on the other end of the spectrum, but people who are on some other spectrum, of whatever, sociopaths, psychopaths, very much on the spectrum, off to the, the other zone. I don't understand how they, I don't know how they live with themselves. How do they sleep at night? Because, like, I have endangered my life 3 times saving dogs. 2 times I was not even successful. One time I was, and unbelievably, this was the most unbelievable sight in the world. It was before cell phones and cameras on our phone. I was on the freeway and traffic was slowed to a stop. There was two brown Labradors. One was like an adult, and one was like a 5-month-old puppy. And they had tags on, they had collars on, and I was going north on the freeway. The dogs were on the south, in the south direction, and there was a median, but traffic on both sides was interestingly slowed down to a stop. People saw the dogs, but nobody was getting out. The dogs were on the shoulder, the safe part. They had it was so unbelievable. They had hopped over like one median, and they had stayed safely in the shoulder. So I was on the other side. I stopped my car, put my flashers on, hopped the median, grabbed one dog, and another guy got out of his car. He goes, well, what are you going to do with the dogs? I said, I'm going to call the owner. And I said, can you hold the pup here while I bring the mother, or the other dog, over the median? We climbed over the median. I put the dog in a luxury car. I went over the median again to get the younger dog. And, and then I got home. I called the family. It was a couple. It was a little bit younger couple than me. And this was about maybe 10 years ago. And they told me that they had let the dogs out in the morning. You know, they just let them out, and no fence. You can't do that, folks. You can never do that. I used to think, you could. Dogs get lured. Dogs are lured by squirrels and deer, and sometimes, their energy and motivation gets them on a path where it's really dangerous, and they cannot come back. They don't know their way back. They can't navigate back, and then they're lost, and they try to climb medians and freeways. So these dogs made it to safety, and I've chased another dog on a freeway in Houston. But a person who is an empath suffers greatly. So people who help others don't do it at no cost. It is very costly to them. It is very costly to their mind, to their soul, to their psychological well-being. When they see people hurting, animals suffering, sentient beings in need, they go to the rescue. So the people that you call too sensitive, and the people that rescue deer, like I did, me and a friend, we took a recently hit deer who was alive, took it to an emergency vet, and the vet said they could not do anything because the deer was the property of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So they called the Commonwealth, and the men that came out were quite rude and callous, as you would expect. And they told me to go in. I was outside the vet office, and the deer was in the back of the truck. And I stayed in the back of the truck while we drove her to the vet, and I stroked her. And I tried to calm her, and she wasn't reckless and dangerous at all. When the two men came out from the Commonwealth, they accosted me. They told me that taking the deer away from the site was like a violation or something. I mean, it was just vulgar how they, treated me. And then I heard a comment. This comment came back to me through gossip. These men told, I guess, neighbors, I don't know, just people that got back to me. They said I wanted a Christian burial for the deer, and all I was looking for help for the deer. And they mocked me, and probably said, oh, the crazy lady who is, caring about a deer that's been hit. And these people are disgusting. they told me to go inside, the vet office, and then they, shot the deer. I wasn't present, and I couldn't be present. And they were callous. They were at the other end of the spectrum of an empath or an HSP. Now, if I had to shoot and I could, and I had a gun and I was somewhere, I could do that. But I could never tell the rescuer of an animal that, like they were doing wrong by the Commonwealth or the county or the state or something. Just how very evil. I've just run into so many evil people. And I really think that HSPs attract sociopaths and psychopaths and narcissists. And so anyway, we feel too much, we hurt too much, and I wish there were more of us, because I really think that there's more people who are harmful and cruel and hateful and just mentally disturbed and sociopathic. Like I have a friend on Facebook, and she lives in an area where there's ducks and stuff, and she said there's people who would just run into the ducks, and like people like me, I would stop and block traffic for the ducks to cross. I have witnessed, I was in St. Croix, and I witnessed a young man, 17 or so, and he was waiting for this litter, or like a flock or whatever, babies and chicks. The chicken mother and the chicks were following her, and I saw this in my rearview mirror, and this asshole did not make sure that the last one had made it, and he crushed the last chick. And I yelled at him because I was across the street and I saw it. And then an old man was cussing out, I don't know what language in St. Croix, it's a papiamento or something. He was cussing out the young man. Like, he was so impatient that he killed one of the chicks, like for nothing, like because of his impatience, his ignorance. I hate ignorance and cruelty, and it's just sick. It's sick to it's sick to live in a world where there's like a divide of different people, like people on one end of the spectrum who are kind and helpful, and people who are just mean and cruel and just full of hate. So that's kind of my story, and I really think I attract bad souls, and I think it's just something like, it's like a magnet, like it's unavoidable, and it's just so hurtful. It's so hurtful to live in the world. I really feel like sometimes the church is full of sociopaths. It's people who really need redemption and feel that they really have to go to church to save their souls because they know they are not good. I don't go to church. I did as a kid. I feel good-hearted. If there's a heaven, I will go to heaven. But I don't believe in heaven. But, having children is so risky, such a gamble, and you could have someone who is a sociopath, and you could have someone who is an empath. Both are suffering. I don't know personally about narcissists, sociopaths. I think they don't have a lot of feelings until something happens to them, like a major stroke or something, or they're incapacitated, or somebody kidnaps their child. There's an architect that I know in town. He is the biggest, I'm scary. He's sociopathic, he's narcissistic, he's on the spectrum, you know, and it's scary. I really, that's probably the most thing I fear about people, is running into people who are like him. Just no feelings, no emotion, nothing, flat. He could see, you know, he could see a whole flock of little chicks get smushed, and he would have no concern whatsoever. So anyway, no, don't have kids. Practice anti-natalism. You're sparing so much harm if you refrain from having kids. Every single child is suffering and will suffer. Thank you for watching for 20 minutes and 48 seconds.